welcome to my channel. I'm Tori Lynn. Let's blossom today. Somehow we're here at graduation season. I don't even know how that's possible. Like, pretty sure Christmas was like a month and a half ago. Like, I don't know. Somehow we're here at graduation. We're like halfway through the year. So congratulations to you that are graduating. I thought I would bring you guys a graduation makeup look. Now, I graduated forever ago, but it doesn't feel like it. But somehow it was, like a billion years ago. But I want to bring you guys a makeup look that you could wear to graduation if you're looking for some inspiration, or if you know somebody that's graduating and they're maybe looking for some inspiration, send them this video. But I just want to create this really pretty, timeless, classic makeup look. Honestly, this makeup look could be for weddings. You could wear this as a bride. You could wear this to graduations. You could wear this on any special occasion. Honestly, this makeup look is just a really pretty makeup look in general, but I've got a lot of tips and tricks for long wearing all day makeup look. I have a lot of tips and tricks in this video on how to keep things trendy, but also not to where you're gonna look back in, 5, 10, 15 years and cringe. Who let me do that? This makeup look I think will be very timeless and classic for years and years to come. So if you guys want to see what I did, how I created this beautiful look, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button and let's just jump right on into the video. It has been, gosh, way too many years. 7 years since I have graduated, which seems absolutely crazy. Like, I don't feel like it's been that many years since I've been out of high school, and then I'm like, oh, actually, 7 years. I graduated 7 years ago. Actually just popped up on a memory on Facebook of like my last day of school was like couple days ago. It's kind of scary. I feel like I'm getting old now, but I thought I should put out a makeup look, a graduation makeup look for you guys. I feel like when I was coming up on graduation, I probably went through Pinterest and YouTube and watched makeup looks and got some ideas, some inspiration. So thought I would bring you guys some inspiration for those of you that are getting ready to graduate or graduating. Congratulations if you are. So anyways, I've prepped my skin, did all my skincare, but I haven't done like my primers and that kind of stuff. So I thought we could start with some sunscreen. I don't know about you guys, but my graduation was outdoors, and you also go to a lot of graduation parties and all that kind of stuff. So sunscreen, something super, super important on graduation day. Even if your graduation isn't outside, like I said, you're probably going to be going to graduation barbecues and all that good stuff. So I'm using the Supergoop Glow Screen. This has SPF 40 in it, and this stuff is amazing. I also love that it has a little bit of shimmer to it. So I put this on after doing all of my skincare. I did my moisturizer, I did my toners, I did all my serums and everything that I normally do. And then this is like my last step. And this product I've had for about a month, month and a half, somewhere in there. And I really, really like this product. You really don't need a lot. I took maybe like about a pea-sized amount. And it covers my whole face and my neck. You could even put it on your ears if you want to make sure and give your ears a little protection. If your hair is going to be up or back, probably a smart thing to do. But you really want to make sure to cover your nose, your cheeks, your chin, your forehead, all those areas that are really going to be getting a lot of light to them. You want to protect them, be smart about it. You're young, you want to take care of your skin. And then for primer, I'm going to be using the Urban Decay All Nighter Primer. This is the nice mattifying, gripping primer. It's going to really make your foundation last. It's going to fill in those pores. And it's going to make everything look really, really nice. It's important for something like graduation that you wear products that are going to look good for photos, that's going to last all day long. It's going to look good for the whole duration of the day. So long wear products are really important. Which is why I'm choosing to wear the Anastasia Luminous Foundation. Now this foundation, although it says luminous, is not very like glowy. It has just a nice natural finish. Almost kind of a natural matte finish, if I'm being honest. So I have a pretty oily T-zone, and this doesn't really get that oily. Honestly, this is one of the foundations that lasts the best even through a mask wearing. I get a little bit of transfer on my nose, but not like most of my foundations. Honestly, I think this foundation wears better than the Urban Decay Naked Foundation, which was supposed to be like a transfer-proof foundation. Like that's what they claimed when it came out a couple years ago. Was it like last year or the year before? I can't remember now. I feel like it came out maybe at the beginning of 2020 or end of 2019. And they claimed for it to be like a transfer-proof foundation. And it was supposed to be really amazing. And it, honestly, it does okay, but I feel like this foundation does just as good, if not better, than that foundation. And this foundation is very, very full coverage. I use about 3 pumps and it covers my entire face really, really well. And I'm using the shade 332C. I finally went and picked up a darker shade because I've been doing so much tanning, laying out in the sunshine on our balcony the last couple of months. And so I finally went and picked up another foundation in a darker shade. Was like, well, what foundation am I gonna pick up? And then I was like, well, of course this one, because this is like my favorite foundation right now. It wears the best with a mask, and it's just a really good all-around long-wearing foundation, so it would be perfect for weddings, for graduation, for whatever. Like on camera, maybe that's just in my viewfinder right now, it does look a little orange on me, but I promise it really doesn't look like that in person. It looks really good in person. I normally wear, like, my typical no tan shade is in the shade 150 Warm. Then for concealer, I'm going to take my Maybelline Instant Age Rewind in the shade 120 Light Honey. And I'm just going to take a little bit right on that inner corner, and then little on that outer corner. And then I'm going to do kind of down on the end of the nose, and then up on the bridge, and then again on the forehead. And then I'm going to brighten up these kind of like creases around the nose here. And then also my smile lines I'm going to brighten up, and then I'm going to brighten up the chin as well. And then I'm just going to take my beauty sponge and blend that out. So I want to add just a hair more brightness right on the inner corner. That's it, just a little bit right under those eyes. So I'm going to take my Juvia's Place concealer in the shade 21, and I'm going to pop just right under there. And if I wanted to add just a little bit of lift, I think I might. Just a hair more highlight, just like that. Like, not much at all. See, that really just brightened up that under eye, just lifted it just a hair more than it did before. But I feel like this concealer would be too bright to do everything. Now I'm going to take my Beauty Bakery Bitter Not Bitter Flower in the shade Oat, which is their translucent shade. But instead of taking a sponge, I'm going to take a brush, and I am going to pack this powder right underneath. But I'm not going to pack as heavy as I would with my sponge. This is going to make it look a little less dry under those eyes. I feel like a lot of times if you use your beauty sponge and baking your under eyes, it could just make everything look really matte and flat and dry. And not always, but I don't know, I just feel like I've liked the look of baking with a brush a lot more lately. I'm also going to bake the end of my nose just a little bit. That's just really going to set that foundation into the skin. It's really going to melt it in there. It's going to set it down and keep it from moving, especially if you have to wear a mask at all during this graduation. It's just going to keep everything locked into place. And if you're an oily person, this is going to help absorb those oils in that spot. Alright, so while that's baking, I'm going to go ahead and throw on my brows. Now, I like to use a brow pencil because I like the look of a brow pencil. It's a little softer than a pomade. I used to be a pomade girl, but now I'm a pencil girl. So I'm going to use my e.l.f. Instant Lift Brow Pencil in the shade Taupe. I'm going to throw those on off camera because it takes me a while to do my brows. I'm not one to watch a brow tutorial on. I'm not a brow person. So I'm going to throw my brows on, do those off camera, and I will come back and we'll continue on with the look. Now I have my brows on, moving past that. We're going to jump into the eyes. I'm going to use my Proof is in the Pudding palette. Love this palette. If you're not huge into makeup and you want a nice starter palette of neutrals that's not too overwhelming, the Beauty Bakery has this beautiful neutral palette called Proof is in the Pudding. It's a stunning little palette. It's got some nice shimmers, it's got some nice matte, it's got some good crease shades, it's got some dimension shades. Like, it's just a really nice palette. I believe I got this in a FabFitFun a couple years ago, and it was my go-to palette for a really long time, for quite a while. So we're gonna go ahead and start with the shade called Rice Pudding. It's this nice creamy, kind of vanilla shade, and I'm just gonna buff out those creases and set my lids down. Honestly, because I'm so tan, this shade might be a little pale for me. When I am not tanned, the shade is like perfect. But yeah, it's maybe a little bit, it's maybe a little pale for me right now. But that's alright. We'll make it work. Then I'm going to go into the shade you can see I've used a ton of, called Nana Pudding. And I'm going to buff that shade into the crease. And I'm going to see if I almost maybe should have used this shade to set my lid down instead of that lighter shade, just because this shade matches my skin tone really well right now. But I'm going to work that shade like all the way into the inner corner. Like really working it into that crease, right into that socket. And then I'm going to start winging it out. Bringing it out past the brow. I feel like the trend of like the later half of 2020 and so far in 2021 has really been kind of more of a fox eye kind of look. Kind of a more elongated kind of sexy eye, and it used to be like we wanted our eyes to look very round, and so we did a lot more cut creases and that kind of stuff. But now I feel like the trend is to do things very like winged and smoky, soft, very soft and natural, but also very fox eye and elongated. So I'm gonna just kind of really work that into my crease and bring that out in just kind of a soft wing. Now, like I said, this shade kind of matches my skin tone too well because I've been doing a lot of tanning, so it's not a big deal. This is just, we're starting to build up some dimension is all we're doing. We're just starting to really work that shade into that socket, kind of start to build that shadow into the socket. It's all we're doing right now. Start to build that depth. If you're using a shade like this, if you're a little more pale than I am, if you're not tanned, haven't started your summer tanning yet, then you should be just fine. Like I said, normally this shade stands out on me quite nicely. Next, we're going to go into the shade called Bread Pudding, and basically I'm going to do the exact same thing, but I'm not going to go quite as deep into the inner corner because I was going all the way into that inner corner with that last shade. This way I'm going to go most of the way, but not quite touching that inner corner. Now, if your eyes are hooded like mine and you open them up and you lose a lot of that lid space, when you're doing the outer wing portion of the shadow, you don't want to dip it down so much and bring it out. You kind of just want to bring that V, that outer V, just bring it out straight out. You don't need to dip it down so much when you're doing it. Like, you kind of want to just do your, and you know, crease, do that normal, and then just kind of just do a V. I'm just doing like a normal V situation out here. I'm not like actually, you know, doing a like a loopy wing, just V'ing it out. If you did like a loopy wing, you know, like bring it down and then up, you're not going to be able to really see it when you open your eyes. It's going to get lost down here where you kind of looped it down. It's going to get lost in that hoodedness. So you're just going to kind of want to bring it straight out. If you have a larger eye or, you know, a deep set eye, you can kind of loop it down a little bit more, but I usually just bring it straight out. Hope I'm making sense. Now I'm going to go in with this nice chocolatey color called a Warm Cocoa. Love this color. And we're going to do the same thing. Working it right in the outer portion of the V. I'm not going to bring it in though. I'm just going to keep it right in that outer corner. And we're going to focus it right on that outer V. And we're just going to wing it out. Like I said, I'm just going to keep it straight. Not going to loop it down or anything. No curvature to it. Just going to keep it straight because it's naturally going to get a little bit of curvature to it on its own just because of the shape of your eyelids. Don't be afraid to get real smoky with it, especially on the lid itself. I'm kind of bringing it in and just kind of feathering it towards the lid, getting everything really nice and smoky. I like a nice smoky look. I think it'll kind of really help draw that wing out. Then I'm going to go ahead and take a nice blending brush and give everything a good blend. Then I'm going to go back into that shade called Bread Pudding, which was the medium brown shade we used. And I'm going to go right under the eye. Pop that right under that lower lash line. If you like a little bit of a darker under eye smoke, you could go in with that darker brown shade. So the one thing I want that palette doesn't have is either a really, really dark brown or a black shadow. So I'm going to go into my Tartelette and Bloom palette. This is also a really great starter palette. And I'm going to use the shade called Activist. It's a nice dark brown. Actually, when my hair was extremely dark, this is before I really got into doing brows. This was the shade I used as my like brow product. And I'm going to take this shadow and I'm going to work it along the lash line, starting in the outer corner. And I'm just going to kind of wing it out just a hair. Not much, just a hair. I'm kind of starting right in the outer corner and working that product along that lid. And I'm just using a nice flat brush, a nice really skinny brush. You could use an angle brush if you want to. I prefer just a nice flat skinny brush. And I'm going to work that shadow probably 3/4 of the way across the lid. I don't want to go all the way into the inner corner just because I like to keep that open. It makes my eyes look a little bit bigger and brighter just because I have smaller eyes. Once you get back out to the outer corner, and I'm just going to kind of run my brush over it a little bit, softening it up just a hair. And on that outer corner, out at that outer edge, I'm just going to take my brush and kind of flick my brush, kind of feather it a hair. And just a nice little soft wing situation. So not even like a legit wing, just a little something out there. Just kind of give it a fox eye effect, if you will. I did something kind of similar to this wing, just the wing, on my Mother's Day makeup look back in May. And it was a really pretty, my eye look was mostly just this wing, and we really did a smoky look with it, but it was really pretty. I'm just going to go ahead and pop in a nice bright shimmery inner corner highlight. think that looks really pretty. So I think I'm going to finish off the skin now. This is typically where I would stop and finish off my skin. So we're going to go ahead and sweep away any of the excess baking, which will also sweep away any fallout we have under the eye. Now for setting powders, I've been using the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless in the shade 220 Natural Beige. I like to use a pressed powder especially for events like this, because it's going to give you more coverage. It's really going to set that foundation down. It's going to make everything look flawless. It's going to make it look airbrushed. And I love how this foundation looks with a pressed powder over top. So I'm going to go ahead and bronze up. We're going to give our face some dimension, some warmth to it. So I chose one that I know is a good long wearing, long lasting bronzer. This is the Hoola bronzer from Benefit. This bronzer looks really good on most skin types. And I'm going to use a slightly smaller brush than I would use on like a typical day-to-day basis, because I'm going to like kind of focus this in on my cheekbones a little more than I do a lot of days. A lot of days I'm bronzing up because I want to look like, you know, I want to look bronzed, but today we're bronzing up to look a little more chiseled. You know, we're actually like contouring a little more than normal. So I'm going to really work it under the cheekbone today and around the edges of my face. Now the trick with the forehead, if you have a smaller forehead like I do, you don't want to do a lot of bronzing unless you just like the bronzed look, which I have really been into that. When I first got into makeup, I really didn't bronze the forehead at all, but now I really like love bronzing, so there's that. If you have a larger forehead, then feel free to bronze away. Typically, with a smaller forehead or just bronzing in general, you want to bronze in what we call the cul-de-sacs, which are the areas to the side of the forehead where the hairline kind of rounds. That's where you want to bronze the most. And then again at the temples as well. Now I have a smaller forehead, so I typically try not to bronze too much unless I'm feeling like I'm really wanting to bronze anyways. And like I said, that has been me a lot lately, especially the last few months when I have been doing a lot of tanning. I have really been into the bronzed look because I just want to look like I've been laying out on the beach in Hawaii for the last, 3 months. I want to look like I just got back from a vacation. So typically when I'm bronzing my face though, I usually do the forehead and then I kind of come down and I create this like little curved situation down under that cheekbone up into the hairline. Make sure to get all that. And then usually down back by the ear here, which will kind of create definition of the jawline some more. Again, you'll want to chisel out your jawline a hair, especially if you're like me and you got that double chin life going on. I'm gonna go ahead and contour my nose real quickly. I like to use a different bronzer to contour my nose. This is the NARS Diffused Bronzer in the shade Seaside. I feel like this bronzer is just a little bit softer and that's why I like to use it. And this is I believe an Anastasia dual-sided brush. And I usually take that brush, the smaller side, and go right down the side of my nose. Now that we're all contoured, we need to highlight, we need to brighten it up. I like a good highlight, a nice strong highlight. One of my favorite highlights is Mary Luminizer from The Balm. I think this highlight is absolutely beautiful. I think it's just a nice, stunning highlight. It's got some beautiful, cool tones in it without being too cool. So I'm going to go ahead and pop that on the cheek And I just like to kind of coat the whole top of my cheek. About like that. And I'm going to even do some on the forehead and around it down. Now for blush, I'm just going to go with a nice soft pink blush. This is a Burt's Bees blush, actually, in the shade Shy Pink. Just a nice, pretty, kind of a baby pink blush. And I'm really going to focus it like up on the temples. Bring it down onto the apples a little bit, but I like it mostly up on the temples for something like this. On a day-to-day, I like to do a lot of blush on the apples of my cheeks, but I think for something more like a graduation, you want to do it more on the like cheekbones and up towards the temples. So now to set your skin down, if you know you're going to be out in the sun, you're going to be sweating, you're going to be roasting, you just know you're going to be really oily, really greasy, go with a matte setting spray. But if you're not and you want to keep kind of the dewy, glowy look, which is what I would suggest, then go with a dewy or a glowy setting spray, or just go with your regular setting spray, whatever you have on hand, whatever you like to use. I'm going to be using the Ciate London Watermelon Burst setting spray. This one smells like Watermelon Jolly Rancher. It smells so good. I got that one more recently in my FabFitFun, and it said you're supposed to spray in an X pattern and a T pattern. Tried to do that, still couldn't do it. But now I'm just gonna let that melt into my skin. When doing something like a graduation, it's a big day, you want your makeup to last, more setting spray is okay. It's alright to go ham on the setting spray because you really want that makeup to melt into the skin. You want it to last. You want it to all melt together and look really, really seamless and beautiful. So it's okay to put a little extra on. Anyways, while that is melting in and drying down, I'm going to go ahead and throw on some mascara and some lashes. And I'm going to do that off camera, which is going to save us some time. So I will be right back. I always love when you put on lashes and it just like ties everything together. It looks so good. So let's go ahead and throw a lip on now. I'm thinking something kind of a pinky nude and glossy, because glossy is kind of the trend right now. So I pulled out my NYX Shine Loud liquid lip, whatever this is, and mine is in the shade Born to Hustle. It's kind of this nude pink color. It's a little more nude, I feel like, than it's labeled to look, but we're gonna go ahead and use that. I think it'll look really pretty. I feel like when you're doing something like a graduation, you want to stick with something that's classic, you know, something timeless. So you could go with a nice classic red, but that's not going to go with everybody's school colors, or maybe not your outfit underneath your gown. So I think just a nice nude pink color would be really pretty. And the reason I chose this particular product was because it's glossy, but it will also stay. I think that's why these Shine Loud products became trendy a while back, was because they're actually like glossy products that will stay on your lips. So then now I'm going to go ahead and put the gloss, the top coat on. Alright, and there you have it. That is the graduation look. I think this look will be really classic, really timeless, something you could look at these photos of for years and years to come and not be like, ugh, what was I thinking? Just a nice glossy lip. The color's not too wild. We could even go with something a little less pink, something maybe a little bit darker, a little mauvier would be pretty. But this has just happened to be the only Shine Loud product I have. You could do something that's not, of course, not a NYX Shine Loud. You could do just a regular matte liquid lip and put a gloss coat over top of anything. I just happen to have this product and wanted to use it again because I actually really like these products. I wish I had more of these last time I went to buy more. They had like really oddball colors, like there was a blue and a purple and some really, really dark like browns left, and I was like, I don't think so. But I do think that this lip will be really timeless and classic. And the same with the eye. You have a little bit of a liner, but nothing crazy. A nice, soft, smoky fox eye that's not going to be too much. And I think it'll just be really, really gorgeous to look back on these photos. You don't have anything too crazy with the highlight and the contour, and a nice, soft blush. So if you guys like this video, then go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you think about this makeup look down below. If you guys have not subscribed, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!